Alright guys, here's a warm-up for you guys to try. Pause the video right now, I'll try them, and I'll have the answers for you when you get back. There you go. Double check your work. If you have questions, reach out to me. But what you guys are going to be doing today is you're going to be continuing on with lesson 6.5. So please make sure prior to going through this that you guys completed the multiplying binomial maze, and you submitted your work on Schoology. The notes that you started last class will be the same ones that you're going to be completing for this class. So if you printed them out, you're going to need to get them out right now. If you started taking your own handwritten notes, please get them out. Or if you started using DocHub, please open up your document for yourselves. But we're going to continue on. It's really quite similar to what we were doing last class. Remember, we were working with the FOIL method. Where it's first, outer, inner, last. Okay? So here we go with the new material. So continuing on, so to multiply polynomials with more than two terms, you can use the distributive property several times. So just like what we were doing when we were given like two binomials, so if you had like x plus 6 times 3x minus 9, this x term would have to go to each term in here, and we would write that out as like x times 3x minus 9 plus the 6 times 3x minus 9. Okay, and then you could easily apply that distributive property for both of them. Well, you can do the same thing when you're given a binomial by a trinomial. Okay, so this 5x has to go to each term in here. So in order to show that, I'm going to take 5x times that whole entire trinomial. And I'm going to do the same thing with the 3. So that 3 has to go to each one of these terms as well. So I'm going to write it with 3 times that whole entire thing. Okay, and then we're simply just going to use our distributive property. So 5x times 2x squared. Remember, multiply the coefficients and then, like bases, add the exponents. So this becomes 10x cubed. 5x times 10x, which gives us 50x squared. 5x times negative 6, negative 30x. Distributing our 3 now, 3 times 2x squared is a 6x squared. 3 times 10 gives us 30x. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. And then we're just going to keep doing what we did before, which was combine like terms. So remember, take the sign with the number. You don't have any cubed terms other than this 10x cubed, so we're going to bring that down. So then you have 50x squared and 6x squared, which gives us a positive 56x squared. And then I have my x term, so I have negative 30x, positive 30x. Well, a negative and a positive, they're going to end up canceling each other out, and then you're left with minus 18. So 10x cubed plus 56x squared minus 18 is your answer. So what originally started out as like this ugly problem that you thought actually turned out to be a really nice, easy answer for us to get. And again, guys, you're just applying the distributive property twice, okay? So there's another method that you guys can use. It kind of goes off with the box method when we were doing multiplying with the binomials, but you can use a rectangular model to multiply your polynomials with more than two terms. So just like with the binomial, you wrote one down one side, one across the top. You're going to do the same thing with your trinomial and binomial, okay? So my binomial is written down the side, and my trinomial is written down the top. And then remember, to find the product, you're simply just going to multiply down and then over. So like Punnett squares, like if you were doing it in science class. So you would do 2x squared times 5x, which would give you 10x cubed. And then you would do 2x and positive 3. So that gives us 6x squared. And then keep going. So 10x and 5x is 50x squared. 10x and 3 is 30x. Negative 6 and 5x is negative 30x. Negative 6 and 3 is negative 18. And then we're going to combine terms. If you notice now, going along diagonals, there's two sets of terms that you're going to have to combine here, okay? So when you do that, you have your 10x cubed, 50x squared, and 6x squared again is 56x squared. Positive 30x and negative 30x is nothing, and then you're just left with minus 18. So either method that you use, you should get the same answer. Now, there is one more method to this, and that is multiplying your polynomials using the vertical method. It's simply just as if you were to do long multiplication. So like if I were to take 312 times 56, okay? So if you were to multiply this, you would do like 2 times 6, and that would give you 12, okay? So like 2 carry the 1, 6 times 1 is 6, plus another 1 is 7, 6 times 3 is 18. I do the 0 for the placeholder, you might not, and I cross this out, and then you would simply just keep going. So like 5 times 2 is 10, 0, carry the 1, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6, and then you have 15, and then how you would typically add straight down, okay? It's the same concept when you're doing it with the multiplication, okay? So I'm going to take my binomial and my trinomial and multiply them together. So 3 times negative 6, negative 18. And now the terms just stay where they are instead of carrying. And then you have 3 times 10x, so that's positive 30x. Then you have 3 times 2x squared, so that gives you 6x squared. Okay? Again, I use a 0 as a placeholder, and I'm going to cross this out. And then you do 5x times negative 3, which is negative 30x. 5x times 10x, which is 50x squared. And then 5x times 2x is 10x cubed. Okay? And then simply, like how we did with regular multiplication, you add straight down. So this gives us negative 18. These end up canceling each other out. You have positive 56x squared, and then you have 10x cubed. So you guys just got your final answer. So there's 3 methods you can use. You can either 1, distribute twice. 2, you can use the box method. Or 3, you can do the vertical method. Now, I don't care what way you what way you do it, just as long as you do the work. Okay, so we're going to go through a few examples. I'm probably going to pick and choose the different methods for us to do, but if you like one more than the others, you can stick with that. All right, here we go. So, multiplying the polynomials. So for this one, I'm just going to use the distributive method. So I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to do x times, and it's got to go to all this, so this becomes x squared plus 4x minus 6. And then this negative 5's got to get multiplied to everything, so now it's minus 5 times x squared plus 4x minus 6. Now, you're probably wondering, do I always have to write it out like that? And the answer is no. I'm just writing it out like that so you guys can see it. But when I go through and I do it, because I'm at that point, you guys might be, but like I just go like this. So I do x times x squared, x times 4x, x times negative 6, and then the negative 5. I go underneath with each one of those to show that's how I'm doing the multiplication, okay? But again, guys, you pick what works for you. So, doing the math now, x times x squared is x cubed, x times 4x is 4x squared, x times negative 6 is negative 6x, negative 5 times x squared, negative 5x squared, negative 5 times 4x, negative 20x, negative 5 times negative 6, negative 30. Now the next step is combine like terms. Well, I don't have any cubed terms other than this one, so it's x cubed. And if you want to cross them out as you go, you can, if that helps you. Positive 4x squared, negative 5x squared gives me negative x squared. Now I have negative 6, negative 20x, so negative 26x. And then last but not least, I have minus 30. So the product of my binomial and trinomial is x cubed minus x squared minus 26x minus 30. Ooh, wait, Miss Hodge, you made a mistake. A negative times a negative is a positive, so this should be positive 30. Alright, next example. So, for this one now, I'll do the vertical method. So, I'm just going to set it up. So, negative 4x squared minus 10x plus 3. And then you have 2x negative 5. So, multiplying. So, you get negative 15. Negative 5 times negative 10x is positive 50x. Negative 5 times negative 4 is positive 20x squared. So again, I do the 0. 2x times 3 is 6x. 2x times negative 10 is negative 20x squared. And then 2x times negative 4 is negative 8x cubed. Add straight down. You have negative 15, positive 56x. These end up canceling in negative 8x cubed. So your final answer is negative 8x cubed plus 56x minus 15. And remember, guys, if I'm going too fast, you can always pause the video. Alright, next one. So, this kind of builds off of what we talked about before, because if you had x plus 3 quantity squared, remember, that was the same thing as saying x plus 3 times x plus 3. Now, this time you're raised to the third power. So how many of those x plus 3s do we really have? Well, if you just said 3, you are correct. So I'm just going to write it out like that. So I have x plus 3 times an x plus 3 times an x plus 3. Well, we can get this into being a binomial times a trinomial. And in order to do that, you're first going to have to multiply two of them together. So that's what I'm going to do first. So I'm just going to use my FOIL method. So x times x gives me x squared. X times 3 is 3x. Again, 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 3 is 9. Combining like terms, you get x squared plus 6x plus 9. So now, if you guys notice, you have a binomial multiplied with a trinomial. Okay? And that was simply just taking this problem of x plus 3 to the third power and writing out it as 3 separate terms. Okay? So now, just so then you guys can see it, I'm going to do the box method. So I'm going to draw myself a little table. needs to be 2 by 3. So I'm going to write my trinomial across the top, taking the signs with the terms. And then I'm going to take my binomial down the side. And then I'm just going to simply multiply, remember, over and down. So x times x squared is x cubed. X squared times 3 is 3x squared. 6x and x is 6x squared. 6x and 3 is 18x. 9 and x is 9x. 9 and 3 is 27. So, combine your like terms along the diagonals. So, I don't have any other x cubed, so that stays there. I have some squared terms, so adding them, they give me 9x squared. I have some x terms, so adding them gives me 27x. And then last but not least, I'm left with a constant of 27. So, when I take the quantity of x plus 3 to the third power, and I multiply it out, I get x cubed plus 9x squared plus 27x plus 27. Not too bad, right? Alright, let's do one more together. Oh, same problem. Here we go. So you have 3x plus 1 times x cubed plus 4x squared minus 7. So, this one isn't too different. The only thing different is that these terms now have higher exponents. So you guys can pick and choose whatever method you want to use. I'll do the method how I was saying how I typically do them, just so you guys can see how it's done. So 3x times x cubed, remember, add the exponent with like basis. This becomes 3x to the fourth. 3x times 4x squared gives you positive 12x cubed. And then 3x times negative 7 gives me negative 21x. Alright, now going the other way. 1 times x cubed just gives me x cubed. 1 times 4x gives me 4x squared. 1 times negative 7 is just negative 7. Combine like terms. Well, I only have 3x to the fourth. Done with that. Now, going in standard form, my cube terms. So that gives you positive. Remember, if it doesn't have 1, give it 1. So positive 13x cubed. Then would come my squared terms. So you have 4x squared. It's your only one. Then come your x terms. Your x terms, so that would just be negative 21x. And then last but not least, you have your constant of minus 7. So this one now, there's more terms in your final answer, but we didn't do any more steps than normal, okay? It's just the exponents that threw off how our final answer is typically used to. Alright, so I'm going to ask that you guys pause the video and you try problems. You guys have 2 of them to do. Again, you can pick any method you want to use. You can use the vertical method, you can use the box method, or you can use the distributive method. All I'm going to ask is that you guys show your steps. Alright, pause the video and try them. So, a quick hint before I give you guys the answers is a polynomial with m terms. And remember, m is just representing a number. Multiplied a polynomial with n terms. Again, n is a number. Has a product that, before simplifying, has mn terms. So what that means is when you multiply them together. So in example 4a, you had a binomial, which has 2 terms, times a trinomial, which has 3 terms. So before simplifying, you would have 6 terms. So if I go back, binomial times a trinomial. Now, counting the number of terms that I have here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that tells me that I did all the multiplication to every single problem, okay? Or every single number, I mean. Now, if I only ended up with 5, or if I had 7, then I either missed one or I did one too many, okay? But you can always multiply them together. So, taking that now, you have 2 terms times 3 terms. So, before simplifying, you should end up with 6 terms. So, your answer for this would be, the answer for this would be x cubed minus x squared minus 6x plus 18. So before I simplified, I did have those 6 terms. Alright, next one. Alright, and there you have example B. Now guys, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. But we're going to go through some application problems now. So, here we go. The width of a rectangular prism is 3 feet less than the height, and the length of the prism is 4 feet more than the height. Write a polynomial that represents the area of the base of the prism. So, a few things that you guys need to know is width of a rectangular prism is 3 feet less than the height. Now remember, with less than, you switch the order. So width is, remember, is that keyword of subtracting, or I mean equals. So is means equals. So I have width is 3 feet less than height. So less than, switch the order. So that's height minus 3. And then I have length is 4 feet more than height. So length is 4 feet more than means add. So I would have h plus 4. Now, for letter A, you have to write a polynomial that represents the area of the base of a prism. Now remember, the base of a prism is a square. So formula for area of a square is length times width, or base times height. But because I am using length and width here, I'm going to use length times width. So I'm going to simply fill in what I have of h plus 4 times h minus 3. And then now I got to multiply that, so I'm going to use my FOIL method. H times h is h squared. H times negative 3 is negative 3h. 4 times h is 4h. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Combining like terms, you get h squared plus h minus 12. So there's your polynomial to represent the area. The next part now says, find the area of the base when the height is 5 feet. So height is 5 feet. So they're telling you what h is now. So you're going to plug that in. So this becomes 5 squared plus 5 minus 12. Well, 5 squared gives me 25 plus 5 minus 12. 25 plus 5 is 30. 30 minus 12 now is 18 feet squared, since I'm talking in terms of area. So the key is here is the first part is being able to write your expressions or your equations to represent each part using the FOIL method. And then they gave us what a value is for our height. Alright, I'm going to ask that you guys pause the video and you guys try yourselves. Okay, so for this one, they only say the length is 4 meters shorter than the width. So I have length is equal to width minus 4. Now they don't tell you anything about the width, so like how we normally have done it in the past, your width is just going to be the variable w, because we don't know anything else about it. Okay, and then you plug it into your area formula of length times width, distribute just the w, And you should get your area polynomial to be w squared minus 4w. So they used x in terms of the w like I did, but all you're doing is plugging in with is 6 here, whether you use x or w, and then simplifying and solving, and you get your area to be 12 meters squared. Okay, they're not too difficult, are they? It's just about being able to read and interpret what the question is saying. So what I'm going to ask that you guys do now is, that's the end of the lesson. If you have questions, please reach out to me. But other than that, I have an exit ticket for you guys posted on Schoology. Next class, what we're going to do is we're going to focus more on multiplying binomials by trinomials, just so you guys can be comfortable with it. But I'm going to ask that you guys right now just answer the quick question on the exit ticket. It will be a criterion B grade for you guys. Other than that, please attend my office hours. If you are struggling, send me messages. Be more than happy to help any of you. All right, guys, have a great day.